Another good morning to you all. And like we do, I think it's nice to start laying down. So get yourself settled on your mat. And you know, if you need anything underneath your head, that's absolutely fine. And if you have your knees bent with your feet on the ground. So let's get the body settled first thing before we go and do any poses or anything like that. So maybe rest your arms down the sides of your body. And then just note perhaps some parts of the body that are touching the ground. So probably your sacrum, parts of your back, your shoulder blades, and the back of your head. So let's see if we can invite a little bit more heaviness into those parts that I just mentioned. So let's start with the sacrum, your tailbone, back of your pelvis. And just notice, can you give a little bit more of your weight to that part of your body? So you will get a feeling of sinking down a little bit more into your mat. And then same with your shoulder blades. And a bit more weight of your upper back release into the floor. And notice whether they are a little bit resistant to this and whether you can return and go through the process again. So giving into the weight of the pelvis, tailbone, and then the shoulder blades, upper chest, upper back. And now holding both of those, sinking into the ground, then coming to the back of the head. Now I think our necks and our shoulders are switched on more than we realise. Obviously the neck is having to hold your head above your shoulders and the head is heavy. So the shoulders and neck do a lot of work all day long for you. But here we're allowing gravity to work for us. So notice what part of the back of your head is on the ground, and then bring your awareness to the back of your throat, closest to your spine. And then see if you can give into that space so that you unlock that holding. And you may sense that your lower jaw sinks back a little bit more towards the floor. And that might assist, the neck muscles, the muscles at the back of the head, all to just soften a little bit so that you feel the weight. And because we're laying down like this, and because we're working from the front of the body to the back of the body, we've really got the assistance of gravity if we can hook into that. And then just let your breath appear as it does. It comes in and goes out. try not to over-organize your breath or do like a lot of ujjayi breathing or anything like that. Just breathe. Or more to the point, just let your body breathe you. So you really take the effort out of it, and there you notice that lovely connection that just naturally happens with you and your body and all of those different systems inside your body when we don't try and over-organize things. So anytime you need to revisit the back of the sacrum, the shoulder blades, if you feel things creeping back on, then invite them back down. And then with your head here in the center, we're going to have a normal inhale, and as you exhale, turn your head to the right. Slowly bring your head back up, and then breathe out, turn to the left. You can have your eyes closed when you're doing this if you want. It's quite nice to be very much on the inside. So just moving your head nice and gently, slowly, side to side. Okay, and then the next time your head is over to the right, just pause there for a moment. Take your right hand and feel down the side of the left side of your neck. Excuse me. Now we've got a really thick cable muscle that does that work of holding your head above your shoulders. So just run your index finger, your thumb and your index finger either side of that cable, all the way down from the back of your head past your ear, all the way down to the top of your collarbones. Now, we're all going to feel this differently and want to work with this differently. Now, I like to slide my fingers down, locate it, relax it, and then bring a bit more movement to it. So then I hold that muscle and I squidge it from side to side with the index finger and the thumb. And then the next round I would do that, I would actually hold it deeper with my fingers and the side of my thumb, squeeze it to properly massage it. And notice there might be somewhere along that line of muscle that's resistant or maybe even tender. So obviously you take it to the intensity that you need to. And then move your hands to the top of your left shoulder, the trapezius muscles, and give them a big squeeze. You might want to roll your left arm out whilst you're doing this. That might be better for the arm and chest. And what's nice about doing this laying down is that you are not holding your head. The muscles are free to relax. I mean, it's quite nice doing this seated as well, but I do like to turn as much off as I can whilst I'm working it. And then bring the head back to centre. Pause for a moment and just notice, I mean, there'll be warmth because you've been massaging. Go back to releasing the back of the throat to the ground, and then turn your head to the left. Use that left arm And you're tracking the muscle down the side of your neck, all the way from the back of the head, past the ear, down the side and to the top of the collarbone. And again, you can have your right arm just out to the side, palm up. And then get a bit more intense with the massage if you want to. And you may have already noticed that one side is tighter than the other. So that could be where you put your bag on your shoulder, or if you're right-handed, using the mouse on the computer, that kind of thing. Here we get to really feel the tight areas. So go a little bit more deeper if you want to. Really massage in between the fingers and the thumb, base of your thumb. And then all the way down to the top of your shoulder, that trapezius muscle, giving it a good squeeze. And that should feel really nice. And then bring your head back to centre, pause for a moment, relax everything back down to the floor. So do a quick check, back of the sacrum, shoulder blades, back of the throat. And now take your right hand to the left collarbone, specifically underneath the left collarbone, and just track the bone going from the centre out to the shoulder. Again, it's just a little form of massage. This part of the body can get tight with all the leaning forwards that we do. Keep dropping yourself back to the floor. And then switch hands. So your left hand will work underneath your right collarbone. You can literally go right out to the shoulder bone or arm bone. And again, we might have somewhere along there that's a little tender. Okay, now we're going to work down the sternum. This is quite interesting. So bring both of your hands to where your collarbones join, your sternum, and just move your fingers around and you'll feel there's one particular knobbly bit where the bones literally join, and that might be sensitive. Now, to begin with, pause, let the sternum fall into the body a little bit more, and then just with maybe your first and second finger, track down like you're walking down your sternum, either side, and I literally just use my index finger and second finger, and I can feel where the ribs are, my front ribs obviously, are connecting into the sternum. And keep going, keep going. You might find you get a bit of a tender place. Well, if you get tender spot, you could just pause there for a moment and just gently massage. And then keep going until you get all the way down to the solar plexus. So when you hit a squidgy bit, you're there. And from there you can feel, and you're going to use your fingers to follow the line of your bottom ribs. So literally feel those bottom ribs going from the centre of the body out to the side. And then I want you to feel, the interesting thing is our rib cages, the shapes are just so different. But what we're going to do is get to the peak point of your ribs and then just tuck your fingers slightly underneath. So you can feel that there's a ridge, and you can just rest your fingers underneath that. And now breathe. Dropping the sternum into the body. You're getting first-hand experience of the edge of your diaphragm. So let the breath travel all the way through, all the way down if you can, through the chest, through the belly, to the pelvic floor, and then on your exhale you've got that lift that we work with, feeling the core muscles come to the center of the body, and you'll get an experience. It's going to be different for everybody, but you'll get an experience on your exhale, literally through your fingertips, on what's happening to your exhale. We'll just do that a couple more breaths. You might want to move your fingers, feel somewhere else around the ribs. Okay, and then just release. Shake your hands out for a moment and then interlace your fingers. Turn your palms away, breathe in, and as you exhale, keeping your shoulder blades on the floor, we're going to bring the arms overhead. They don't have to go to the ground. Yeah, and then inhale, draw them back up. Turn the palms to face you, backs of wrist away from you. Again, shoulder blades on the floor, and then the arms can just come behind. So let's turn the palms away again. One more in that direction. Keep the tailbone on the floor. Keep the shoulder blades on the floor. Turn the palms to face you. Notice the back of the throat. Keep that drawing downwards and not upwards. Okay, so just bring your knees in towards you. You might want to cross your ankles just to make that more comfortable. Your knees can go out to the sides. Again, interlace your fingers. Let's have the palms facing us to begin with. So we're going to do the same thing with the arms, but at the same time, keeping the rib cage on the floor, keeping the back of the sacrum on the floor. We're just going to tap the toes to the ground, okay, whilst taking the arms overhead. So palms facing you, breathe in as you exhale. Sternum and the solar plexus drawing down towards the floor. Tap the toes to the floor. Arms are over your head, and then come back. So breathe in, and then exhale, out you go. Watch that you don't cause tightness somewhere. You may want to change the crossing of the ankles as you come back. So let's turn the palms away now and do 3 in this direction. Don't be surprised if you feel this to be strong in the core. That's my purpose. And then we'll have one more exhale. And then back you come, releasing your hands. Separate your feet, take your feet to the floor. If you've got anything under your head, can I ask that you just take that away so that you are purely flat on the ground. Feet are underneath your knees, arms are down the sides of the body. So spread your feet, okay, and then just for a moment, really push the tailbone into the floor. That will create a pelvic tilt, so your lower back will lift. And then as you breathe out, let's turn that and put the top of the pelvis back on the ground. So inhale, now it's the tailbone. And then exhale, top of the pelvis. One more each way. level yourself out. Come to the feet again. Press down through the soles of your feet. Lead through the pubic bone. So lift, so you'll curl the pelvis back and then lift, lift, lift the hips. We don't need to go high at all. And then come down through the top of the chest, through the mid-back, and then back to the back of the pelvis. So we'll do that again. Press down through your feet. Lift up through that pubic bone. You might notice you go a little bit higher this time. Remember not to overwork the hamstrings or the buttocks. Come back down. So you want to keep pressing the feet to the floor. Okay, now we're going to just play with this a little bit. So up you come. Press to the feet. So remember those sit bones that like to go towards one another. See if you can separate them. Take them out sideways. Okay, now bring the arms up overhead. And then gently release the sternum into the body a bit more, but keep the hips lifted. Keep pressing down through your feet. Now this will feel like a big stretch in the spine, and the intensity moves down the body. So you may want to put a set of fingers on the sternum just to remind yourself. Release that into the body so your lower back will fall a bit more to the floor, pelvis stays lifted. Watch those sit bones. Press down through the feet. Keep the pelvis lifted. This is quite a strong bridge pose. Stronger for the lower part of the body, the legs. And then slowly release mid-back, lower back. And then bring your arms down. Pause with the arms by the sides of the body. You shouldn't get that feeling of needing to bring your knees into your chest after this pose. That if we're doing this pose into full bridge, it creates such an arch in the back that people like to then bring the knees into the chest. So if you're feeling that that's not necessary, you don't need to do that, then you're getting the point of working the pose this way. So let's just do one more. Press down through the feet, lift that pubic bone. Bring yourself up, bring the arms up. If you want to leave your arms down, you can actually. And then get into that dropping of the sternum into the body. Keep pressing through your feet, remember. Reaching out through your knees. So it's as if the tailbone is moving away from you. There suddenly gets a length in the, sort of from the lower mid-back all the way to the low back. There's a lot of opening here, a lot of lengthening. And then slowly come down through the vertebrae that aren't already touching the ground. And when you release, breathe. Bring your arms back when you're ready. And walk your feet to the edges of your mat. Dropping the knees to the left. And then inhale, come up with the right knee and then over, flopping over with your left. So your feet stay wide on the mat here. And then lift through that left knee and let the right one come over. So the different sides of the pelvis here really work in their own time. It's not as if we're trying to match them and put them together. They're very much working separately. Just let the hips roll and loosen. I love this pose. I could be here all day long with this pose. onto the left. And then the next one to the right, we're going to roll all the way over and then bring ourselves up onto hands and knees. So if you've got a block, I'm just going to get myself a thinner block. This would be useful for what we're going to do next, but a folded blanket or cushion will do just as well. So we're going to have whatever block or thing that you're using underneath just one knee for your cat and cow. Now this will become evident as to why we're doing this, I think, in a moment. So come on to hands and knees, and then let's all have our right knee elevated. So I have done this with a thicker block, and I think for my body proportions this doesn't work. That's why I want something thinner. But you might actually find that you want something higher, but you'll notice in a moment. Okay, so from here, take an inhale, and as we do with cat and cow, we lengthen forwards, not over dipping in the back. And then on the exhale, nice full arch, pressing up. So you can feel that this is working one side of the body slightly differently to the other. Now I've been doing a little bit of this, and I find that it exposes, it highlights to me more when I go to the other side. When I've done one side and I go back and do it over the other side, that's when I realise what this is going to teach me, what it's going to show me in my body. It's not evident with the first one. And of course this is all going to be different for all of us. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to turn myself sideways. We'll come back and do the other side in a moment. But from here, bring yourself up, but send your left leg out to the side. So you judge where you want your toes to be. Some people might need them facing away or directly out to the side. Hands onto your hips. We're going to inhale, take the right arm up. So it's the same arm as the knee that's supported, and then exhale, over you go. Inhale, lift, and exhale. So press down into that knee as you go over. And then we'll do one more. Breathe out. And then back we come. Down onto hands and knees. So obviously now you need to swap. Yeah, need to swap your block. And like I said, for me, I don't even need to move, and I can already feel what this is trying to tell me about. So go through your cat and cows. Inhale and exhale. So for me, one side is more restricted than the other. And I can feel that one side is longer than the other. So this is, a good way for me to find out exactly where I need to lengthen in the body. Either working on that as a specific thing or throughout my poses. And then we'll do one more breath in and breathe out. And then up you come, sending your right leg out. And then hands, oh, I've got dust on me from somewhere. Hands onto your hips, but it's the left arm that's going to come up, so it's the same as the knee that's on the prop, and then exhale, over you go. And then inhale and exhale. So for me, because I was saying that this side feels shorter, there's a restriction somewhere in my body in the back. So I'm taking that information with me and really using it as I go into this lengthen lengthening over. And last one. So I would probably, if I was working on my own, I would probably pause in this in a certain place and really work with that lengthening. Okay, so come down into child's pose, but take your knees quite wide here as you draw back. Arms forwards, crown of the head to the floor for a moment. And then walk the hands over to the right side of your mat, placing one wrist on top of the other. So here I would actually put the left wrist on top of the right wrist and press down a little bit through your wrists, and that will activate your arms, but keep the sit bones or the pelvis down on both sides if you can. And then just come back to the centre, take your left arm and bring that underneath you, so it's going over to your right side, and then you can just put the left side of your head to the floor, extend your right arm away from you. You could always do this onto your elbow, onto your left elbow, if that's better for your shoulders, your chest, so that you're just up a little bit more. Back through centre, walk your hands to the left side. So this time have your right arm on top of your left wrist, press down through the wrist a little bit. And then we'll come through the centre. So it's the right arm that goes underneath your left. So it's the right side of the head that can just rest on the floor, and then that left arm is reaching away. I know that this doesn't necessarily work for everybody, so like I say, adapt it. If it needs to be just on your elbow, that's fine. And then we'll come back through the centre, slowly up onto hands and knees. Just straighten out your right leg and then straighten out your left leg. Okay, and then tucking your toes under. We'll go to down dog, but do this through really bent knees. So take your pelvis back and then lift, keeping those knees really, really bent. So the shoulders and the arms are quite nicely prepped for this. We've done less work on the legs up until now. So with those knees generously bent, the tailbone is reaching away from you, so you get that beautiful long line in your back. Neck is soft. Now, if you can recall when we started, we had those specific parts of the body giving into gravity, so they were falling towards the floor. So do the reverse here. So the back of the throat, back of the head, all, it's as if you're trying to take your front body into your back body, and then your shoulder blades and your tailbone, your sacrum, your back of your pelvis. Just so you get that sense of not falling to the floor. Everything is lifting back into the body. It just might feel a little bit different. And then from here, come on to your hands and knees. And then take your chest all the way to the floor, nice long legs. And then you can use your hands to rest your head on. The legs are separated, but bring the feet up, keeping the knees on the floor, and then just gently taking both feet over to the right side of the mat. Inhale through the centre, and then over to the left. Now, don't worry about keeping them exactly like windshield wipers. So when I go over to one side, I can get almost, well I can get one foot to the floor, but the other one obviously I'm not going to be able to. But I'm having to slightly straighten the leg. So just make this a movement that works for you and your pelvis, for your lower back. You're just moving through the centre and exhale as you're going over. And just a couple more. And then straighten your legs, bring your arms down the sides of your body, up onto hands and knees. And then we'll tuck the toes and shift to downward dog. And breathe in your downward dog. Find the front part of your body interchanging and connecting with the back part of your body. It's like the two come together. And then gently walk to the top of the mat, feet hip distance apart. I've got a squeaky floorboard here. And then weight down into your heels, into your feet. And as you inhale, slowly bringing yourself up. Arms up if you want to. And then exhale, hands come back to that sternum. Okay, let's do a few variation of the sun salutation. So, remember if you were in the class with me where we were taking the arms up at this point and leaving the legs, very much unactivated. See if we can continue that. So when you're ready, breathe in. Although you're pressing down through your feet, the quads don't need to be activated. Bend the knees. It's at this point that they come in and the hands come down. Inhale, lift up halfway. And then exhale, hands can go flat, step back and coming down all the way to the floor. So we'll do 3 little cobras here. Legs are long at your back and the feet are separated. So as you inhale, gently coming up and then exhale, releasing down. And then we'll have one more. Breathe in. This time, tuck in the toes and lift all the way to your down dog. So keeping that line in your back, so the back of your head, shoulder blades, back of your pelvis, we're all pretty much in a line with one another. So watch that you don't drop your head too far forwards so that it doesn't strain the neck. And then from here, inhale, the right leg can come in the air, bend the knee, squeeze that into your chest, and then bring that foot by your hand. Push off your left toes, fold right over your legs. So get your weight distributed well here, and then that will avoid you pulling on your back. So down through your heels, use that strength of your legs to bring you back up. And then you can bring the hands back into your sternum. And when you bring your hands back to your sternum, it's like that reminder of how we were when we first started on the floor. So remember the back of the head, the middle of your back, and shoulder blades and everything, and the back of the pelvis. It's almost like a reminder to yourself. And then when you're ready, breathe in, lift up. Exhale, find that deep fold over your legs. Inhale, come up halfway. Back you go with one leg and then the other. Knees to the floor, chest can come down. Now we're going to do something slightly differently here. I'll show it this way around and I think it might help. So take your left arm out from your shoulder and roll yourself onto the left side of your body. So your right leg will probably want to come behind you. If it's in front of you or onto your knee, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. And then the head is just resting. Now, for some of us, we need to do a bit of a chest organising exercise. Your left boob, basically. Make sure that that's not in the way as you roll over. So I'm using my right fingertips as just a little tripod to help me here. Now this is stretching the front of your chest all the way across underneath your left collarbone and probably down the arm a little bit as well, depending, yeah. But you judge how far you want to go. You know, you could just play with being on the side of the body if you want to. And then slowly roll back onto your chest. We'll take the right arm out. We'll do this right side whilst we're here. So you roll onto your right side. Your left foot goes behind you. Your head can just rest on the ground. And like I said, I've got this, my fingertips, my left fingertips as a little tripod just to support me here. Few breaths to get right into that experience. And then slowly roll onto your front. Pause for a moment. Rest your forehead on your hands. Maybe a little rocking of your pelvis side to side. And then a little bit of stillness just for a moment. Then we can bring our hands back. Get ready to take yourself to downward dog. And then that little reminder to not fall completely to the floor, but keep some things back in the body. And then lifting the left leg in the air, bend the knee, squeeze it to your chest, and that helps you to get your foot inside your hand. And then bring the right foot to the top as well, so you're folding right over your legs. Heels to the ground, and then inhale, up you come. Those little thumb knuckles back into the sternum, and it's that reminder to get back into yourself, the head, shoulder blades, back of the pelvis. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, dive all the way down. Lift up a little bit, and then back you go with long legs into your plank and all the way to the floor. And then just settle your front body into the ground. So the front of the pelvis, ribs. Yeah, that's that area that we were working with, your fingertips underneath. You're going to keep your ribs on the floor, and you're just going to move this upper part of your shoulders, yeah, the collarbones and everything. That's just lifting here for your cobra. Keeping the bottom of the ribs on the floor. So you might find there's a real lightness under the palm of the hand, so you might be able to just lift the palm of the hands with your chest. And then one final one. And then just pause for a moment, hands underneath that forehead. And then we bring the hands back, tucking our toes all the way to downward dog. And then it's the right leg you're going to lift in the air this time. Bend the knee and bring that so it's inside your right hand. Left heel can go to the floor. So remember, this right foot is on its track, and you can just press down, and that will bring you all the way up. Keep that front knee bent, bring you all the way up into warrior two. So inhale, straighten the front leg. You can even bring the hands back to your sternum. And then on that exhale, everything moving back out again and down through that front heel, all the way down into the heel. Inhale. So as you're going through this movement, you're in contact with all parts of your body. Nothing is being left out. Inhale. And then exhale. And then from here, coming back, but turning. So you're going to have to, so your pelvis is forwards. You tuck your back toes under, you're off the heel. So that back leg is on its track as well as the front one. Now put one hand on your chest, I don't mind which, and the other hand onto the back of the head. It's like, I'll do it this way around, as just a reminder of this alignment. So literally my hand, I've got my thumb and my index fingers sort of running down the line of my sternum, just so that I've got a real sense from here to here how that is aligning. So I'm asking things to move back into the body a little bit more. So the first thing I've had to do is bend that back knee. And then the alignment is much better through the whole of my back body. We have a tendency, quite a lot of us actually, have a tendency of overarching in some of our yoga poses, and the ribs kind of flare. So this is like the antidote to that. And then I'm keeping that alignment and just sending the arms in the air. And then breathing. And on an exhale, come down. So send the back foot away from you a little bit more, get the knee to the floor. So my right hand is going to stay, my left hand is going to stay on the floor. I've got myself up on fingertips. But this right arm, I'm going to inhale, take it up. And on the exhale, bring it underneath this thigh. Inhale, lift. And under the thigh. We'll just have one more inhale and exhale. And then release the hands to the floor, lift off, and then back into downward dog. And the downward dog, back to that reminder of aligning things. So this isn't about making sure that you're specifically straight and things like that. It's that connection with that back part of your body. So that's what I'm meaning when I say alignment. That meeting of the front body all the way to the back. Extend the left leg in the air this time, bend the knee, bring that foot to your hand, and then the right heel goes to the floor. Coming up for warrior two. So the front knee stays bent, the arms go forwards and backwards. And then breathe in And on that exhale, finding yourself there. So the inhale, you can bring the hands to this sternum, straighten the front leg, and then exhale, out you go. Just slowly moving. So it's all of it is the pose. It's not this bent knee and just out there. The whole experience is the pose. So next time the hands are back in towards you, turn your chest and then hop off the back toes. So, back heel, not the toes. And then one hand onto the back of the head and the other hand down the sternum line. And then invite this front part of the body to meet the back part, adjusting where you need to. And like I say, for me, it's I have to bend that back knee, otherwise, you know, my lower back would just be overarching. But once everything kind of meets, I then got the capability, and maybe you guys can sense that too, that there's a lifting sensation as well, a full length. And then from here, I can just keep everything as it is and just bring the arms up in the air. And then from there I can find length on this side. So it's interesting, the findings of using the block in the cat and cow is helping me to get the length in down one side of the body where I need it. And then from here, all the way down, sending the right leg behind you, using the right hand as a prop. Inhale, take the left arm up, exhale, bring it underneath your left leg. So inhale, just gently twisting, exhale. And then two more, inhale. Last time. And then from here, just bring yourself back over your right leg to be seated. Send your legs out in front. Now from here, we've done this with legs straight, as in not bent. So now we're going to go at doing this with bent knees. So you've got your legs out at an angle, but you're bending your knees and your heels are on the floor, your toes are in the air. Now if you sense you're falling back, you could always prop something underneath the buttocks, but this is a little trick you can do as well. The gentle pressing down through your heels sends that message back and helps you to stay lifted. So when you lift, remember that meeting of the front with the back. And I'm going to ask you just to bring your hands to the crown of your head and then press your head into your hands. Find that length. So if you need to keep pressing down through your heels, remember you can do that. But obviously that's just a gentle press. And now you're going to gently twist, keeping this length in your spine. Turn and twist and release your hands out. Doesn't matter which way you go, because you're going to go the other way in a moment. Now I have a tendency, my thigh muscles want to interfere with this. So I'm just asking them to not overwork and then bring myself back into my body, find the length, and there I am in the twist. And it feels really quite pleasant. And then back through centre, bring your hands back onto your head. You might need to feel yourself back into this middle space. Okay, lift into the crown of your head, lift into the palm of the hands, and then gently exhale. Release your hands when you're ready. Maybe Or watch what you're doing with your legs. The opposite thigh might want to interfere with the twist. And then inhale back to center, and then just bring your legs in towards you, and then down onto your backs. Knees come towards you, cross at the ankles, linking the fingers together, arms directly above you, shoulder blades on the floor. This is what we did at the beginning. So keep that sternum down into the body. Back of sacrum is down as well into the floor. Back of the head, back of the throat, and on your exhale, arms overhead, tap your knees to the floor. Knees? God, where did that come from? Your toes. And then inhale, come back, and you might want to interlace your feet the other way around. Exhale. Keep those points moving down towards the floor. Two more. This is 2. And your last one. Really release the back into the floor. And then when you get there, just take your feet completely to the floor. Bring your arms back. Slowly slide your legs out straight. If you want to put any props underneath your legs for your Shavasana or anything underneath your head, then please go ahead and do that now. Maybe you want eye pillows. And with your arms either resting down the sides of your body or actually on your body. Take a moment to feel the heaviness of your ankle bone and your heel bone. And the calf muscle, notice how this tends to be the outer calf, because our legs like to flop. This is obviously if you've got no props underneath you. But your legs like to fall outwards when we lay. And the outer legs and buttocks, back of the pelvis. Reminding yourself to have a little bit more weight going through these points. And the shoulder blades, back of your arms and elbows. And then the back of the head. So noticing if you soften your throat, back of your throat, let it fall to the spine. It's as if the root of your tongue is falling more into your mouth. You may even have the feeling of the bottom jaw coming away from the top, and that's fine. Don't think you have to have your mouth closed here. Notice the backs of your eyeballs. Can they switch off just a little bit, just for a few minutes? If they can, you might really sense the release of tension in the face. Okay, everybody. Time to come out. So just be really gentle with yourself. You only need a little bit of movement to begin with. Stretching yourself, rolling to one side. And then you can just come up. And we'll just close our practice together. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to come up from the ground out of Shavasana. So when you're ready, breathe in, take your arms up. Let the palms come together and then bring the hands, or the thumb knuckles in particular, back into your sternum. And does that bring you back to that place of the front and the back body meeting? Namaste. Thank you. See you soon.